Hello everyone, welcome to a start of a new series. In this case it is going to be the Megaquarium Modding tutorial. So it have, in my opinion, been long enough for me to actually be able to do this video and give you the correct information regarding modding for Megaquarium. So first of all, I would like to tell you the purpose of this series that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be quite, I think, short because I'm just going to be showcasing how do you mod for certain things for Megaquarium, so it's not going to be too long. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is of course the most basic of things, modding in a fish. So this is basically the most basic thing that you could do for Megaquarium. It is probably quote unquote nearly the easiest thing that you could do for Megaquarium in terms of modding. So first of all, this video gonna have a chapter base of course, so that you could jump around to the part that you want to know about. So yeah, if you're ready, then let's get right into this first tutorial. So for the first chapter, I want to be talking about the preparation that is required for modding. So it is quite basic of what you would need for a modding like this. So there is 2 requirements in my opinion. Actually 3 if you count something else as well, which I'm going to be talking about as well. So the first requirement is a art program. Any art program would work, but however you would require a art program that could reveal alpha if you would like to use a model and texture that is from the base game or from Freshwater Frenzy DLC, because they have this special quirk that it is not completely revealed and you would need to reveal alpha, which the best software for that is Paint.net, since this is probably the easiest one to use. But however, Paint.net in my opinion doesn't have enough tool. It is the most bare bones of art program then again, so I would recommend doing the actual texture in Krita, which is a free art software that you could use. It comes pre-installed with a lot of brush and pattern that would help a lot with making a fish, but you could also basically get fish scale and also pattern just download it from the internet, so it's not required to use Krita. So basically in my opinion, just go with any art software that you are comfortable using that can, you know, just in general do things that you would require to do a fish texture. So the next requirement is a program or software that could open data file, JSON file. In this case, every laptop or PC in my opinion would probably come packing with Notepad, but you can also get a upgrade for that, which is a Notepad++, which is again a free software that you could use for opening said file type. So it's gonna help you a lot more since it have a lot more utility tools for this type of thing and help a lot more with the coding part. Which first of all, I'm just gonna give you a reassurance that the coding of Megaquarium mod isn't hard at all, in my opinion at least. Even though I don't even normally code, I can even understand it. So I would think if a brain dead person like me could understand it, you would probably be able to as well. So let's get to the fun part, shall we? To the next chapter. Time for chapter 2. This is probably the most fun chapter in my opinion for doing any modding, which is the gathering information. So basically just get the information on said species, animal, or things that you want to do. Research is quite important. So the first thing you need of course is a photo of your animals, a reference photo for when you are doing the texture for it. So basically just go on Google and type your fish or animal of choice. I would recommend going with a live animal, pictures of them, because sometimes that animal can go a bit faded out in terms of colors. So just go for any pictures that work best just in like a neutral lighting condition and isn't like too much flash or too much shadow. Just go for anything neutral and you should be fine. And then you also need their information regarding their size, how long are they, how do they act in the wild, are they active swimmer, because this is going to be used for the trade and stat for the fish, what do they eat. So it should be self-explanatory enough. So part 2, definitely one of my favorite part, but also one of the most important thing that you need to get right, because if you do a researching wrong, you get the wrong photo or reference, or you didn't research at all, then it could be heartbreaking when you finally move on to other step and you can't do the animal you want to do. So it's quite a bit sad. So I would recommend spending some time in this stage just looking around for things that you like and also could do. I'm not trying to stop you from making anything weird or something that is extremely hard to make in terms of pattern, but I would recommend going in just doing the most basic things first, because this is going to be your first mod after all. So try not to overwork yourself with the texture, as it can be quite heartbreaking if you decided to go with a hard species like me, which my first mod was a clown tank. I want to talk to my past self. Why did I choose clown tank of all things? The pattern is like just... So yeah, just go with anything that is the most basic first for your first mod, and then you can just work from there to a more beautiful, more stunning animal. And that is the second stage of modding for animal. Let's just move on to the next stage. So welcome to stage 3 of modding. So this one you can either do this first or after texturing, but I would recommend doing it first, as it can help up a lot in the end. This is the making the folder for the mods. If you don't know, the mod that you download from the workshop come in a folder. This folder will include 3 other folder and 1 extra thing. So what would be required? First of all, of course, you're gonna need a data. A data folder will basically help your data for your animals, your item, or anything that you're going to be modeling in. Next is the model. Model will basically hold your texture, your FBX file, which is your 3D file, or TC3D. Basically, the game will use TC3D, but however, it will require FBX first, because you need to apply the texture there, and you could delete the FBX later when you are about to publish it, but it could help basically reduce the amount of memory required. But I don't usually do it, as it's like not the most saving of space unless you're doing a big pack. That is when it's gonna most come in noticeable amount of cut thing. Next is the folder called string. This one is a bit less self-explanatory. So string is basically the ID for your fish. Like when you have mod in a fish, it will have, for example, a Mars triggerfish in my case. So for example, in the data file, you use a Mars triggerfish Mars underscore triggerfish. Example, that is the ID. But when in the game, you need to make sure it's turned to just Mars triggerfish. So you put in the string, and I'll show it later on how to actually write it, but this is just an example of what does it do. And also this is where you can put your information about them in the little info tab, which when you hold your mouse over the icon of the letter I of said fish, then you will get this information regarding it. So you can have like any fun fact you want of the fish in there. And lastly, the info, which is a data file. This one is quite self-explanatory. This one is the info that you will see in the mod manager. So it will be basically holding the description of the mod. Basically, you can just put any description you want, but what I would recommend is to at least have the species that you include in the mod listed, so that people could find them easier when they search for it in the Steam workshop, and also just so that people would know what they are getting into. And you will also be putting in the tag for the workshop. We'll talk about this later, as it's a bit more complicated. And lastly, you will also be putting the name of the creator of the mod. So basically just write the name of yourself on Steam, or just any names you want to be people to know you at, but I would recommend just going with your Steam name, in my opinion. And there is also this thing which we will be taking a look into making later, which is a thumbnail for your mods, for people to see in the workshop and also in the modding manager tab. So now step 3 is basically finished. Time for step 4, which is the most important things after the research that you need to do on your things that you want to make, which is texturing. So step number 4, texturing. This one is definitely one of the most time consuming one, in my opinion, because you need to texture a whole fish. So this one is basically where you use the ARS program to do the texture for a fish. So in my case, I'm doing a Mars triggerfish, as I said before. So I will be showing you a time lapse of what I did for the texture here as well. So for texturing, I couldn't really give you any like specific tips, or also just in general, because I don't know what species or animal you want to be making. It might be a basic one, it might be a complicated one, so but in general, this is my tip for you. First thing, fractal, use them. If you are using Krita, it will come installed with this pattern called fractal. This pattern is extremely useful, and I would recommend to slap it on the top layer, set the blending mode to overlay, and then give the opacity around 8 to 10, or just play around with it until you think it is perfect for your fish. This will add the extra kind of graininess to the fish so that it doesn't look too plasticky or gamey, if you know what I mean. Just give it that extra quote-unquote realism taste. But I wouldn't recommend going fully realism as well, as it could be a bit against the game art style to begin with. Also, you would be also needing a scale pattern, but however, if you're making a scaleless fish then or animal that doesn't have scale, then it's fine as well. But if you're making a fish, I would recommend getting yourself a scale pattern. This can be doing in two ways. The first way, if you want a scale pattern of the vanillus animal, you could go into the Megaquarium server, the official one, go in there, join there. There is a modding community there as well, which I would recommend going there to ask them any question, as it will be a lot more helpful than just me just making this video, as they are quite experienced with their craft, and that is also where I learn how to do mods and get some feedback as well. So just go there, ask them if you have any question. Just don't be an annoying little brat just asking basically everything. Try to figure something out first, in my opinion. Try to figure it out. If it doesn't work, then go ahead, ask people. And there is this role which you can get, which is the modder role. So get that role, and then you will have access to hidden modding channel for modders. Please, for the love of God, don't abuse it. Only have it if you are interested in modding or just want to see the how do you mods to get started with. So yeah, get that role if you are looking to mod or already in the server but didn't know about it. And there will be a scale pattern there for you to use, which is the vanilla one. So for scale pattern, just go with, in my opinion, either overlay or multiply, and just go with like 8 or 10 opacity again, and just play around with it until you think it's fit. And also make sure to just not have the scale pattern on their fins, tails, and also around the eye. Make sure to basically erase, but don't make it erase a bit, you know, what will I say, hard? Just make it smooth, or else it would be a bit weird. But that is mostly just my tip and tricks. There's a lot more to be talked about texturing. For example, the art style. There's a lot of art style mod. If you go to on the workshop, there's like simplistic one that look like the in-game, basically try to look like the in-game art style, some quote-unquote HD art style of the base game, so it looked like the base game but it upscaled to HD. And also you get the realism one, which you could also do, but it will require a lot of work, and I would recommend staying away from it for now if you are working on your first mod, as those can be quite time consuming. And in my opinion only, and I wouldn't recommend doing realism, it is quite a bit and against the game art style in general, but if you prefer them, go ahead, I'm not going to stop you. It is always quite nice to see a realistic looking animal in the game, but I don't really use it as it go against the fish that I have in the tank and the decoration. So just basically do your own art style if you have one already, but if you don't, then I would recommend trying to do the in-game art style first of all, and then just growing from there, as that is how I also learn how to do art style, as I go from the in-game art style to my own art style right now, which is still a bit in development, but it is some. So from my time lapse, you could also see a lot of things that I use brushes for different things, make things into layers, have multiply, have shadow, have shading, have blending. It's just basically quite hard to give you an idea of how to do texture, as it's different differentiate a lot comparing between species to species. So yeah, it can be quite a bit hard, but I really believe in everyone who's watching this video that you could do it. Yes, it would be a bit more suffering for your first one, but trust me, it's gonna be way easier after you got your training done, like 2-3 times. After 2 or 3 animal texture, you would have a good enough knowledge of how to do texture that you could make a decent one, in my opinion. And also one thing to make sure that you do a texture that you actually like. Yes, it might be like realism, or it might be more simplistic than the game art style, but I think the most important thing is you like the texture yourself. If you make the most realistic animal in the world, or you make the most simplistic thing in the world, even if people like it, at the end of the day, if you don't like it, then what does it worth? It worth nothing. You wouldn't care for it if you doesn't like the art or the texture of it. So make sure that you like the texture that you did. And also, don't be too self-anxious about, what if I'm not good enough? What if it's too trash? That is what the modding community is for, the modding channel. Ask people, ask us modders, ask basically anyone who do modding, and they will tell you their opinion on it. And you will get a lot of experience from that as well. So do not be scared to share your work in progress texture. Make sure to let us as people see and give critiques on it, as it's helped a lot to actually make a decent animal. With that in mind, enjoy the rest of the time lapse, as I will not be doing a narration on all of them, as it is a bit hard in my opinion to do a narration on them, because I don't quite have a perfect speaking skill. So just look at what I do, just kind of copy what the thing will work best for you. And then again, I would like to put a disclaimer here. I am not the best tech artist, so do not think, I have to do this just like you. No, I'm just giving you a tutorial. You do whatever you like, or what do you prefer. I'm just giving you a idea of how you could do it. So enjoy the rest of the time lapse, and I'll see you in the next part after this. So hello again. It is finally the end of the time lapse of my texturing. So do you like it? Do you like my texture? I mean, I don't know. Leave a comment down below, I guess. So this is what I got. It's a Mars triggerfish. So basically this is a final product should look like. Just have everything, in my opinion, that a texture should have. So you don't need to actually like completely copy it, as that would be realism and it would be a bit more tiring to do things like that. So I would recommend just kind of overall give it a more simplistic style. Just like, oh, you see this goddamn absolute mess of a line, try to make it more simple, try to make it look more simplistic, and then you should get a nice texture. So now, what do you do next after you get the texture done? Now, what do we need to do is save as, of course. So first of all, in my opinion, what you should do is save it in a KRA file. No, that's not the one. Hold on, give me a second. There you go, create a document. Why do you have to save in this? Because so that when you want to come back to it and give it extra polish or change something, you could do it without having to basically have to deal with it being in one layer, as when you save as PNG, it will squish into one layer. But if you save this, it will save all the layers separately, so you could come and adjust anything later. So then we will also do this, which is the most simplistic part. You go to the mod folder that you're working on, go to the model and save said texture as PNG, and this just make it to 1, as it will completely not have any loss in quality. And there you go, you got yourself a nice little texture going. And then going back to our mods folder from here, you can see there it is. That is our texture done and ready. Next part, which is gonna be basically part 4 of a modern tutorial for fish, is to basically prepare your file for things. Just put things in. So first of all, I have this file for basically model, and we will go to take the triggerfish model, because we are using this one because we are making triggerfish, of course. Copy it, go back to our modding folder, paste it in, rename it to have the same name. I would recommend having everything the same name, as it help up a lot to find out what is wrong with the thing, or like what is this file is. So there you go, this is the FBX file where we will apply the texture. So let's take a look, let's clean into it. I'm gonna be showing you like a lot of things as well, so this video is gonna be a bit long, but hopefully it will make you understand how to mod yourself. So we are in a 3D viewers. So let's see here. What will we have? So just let it down, just kind of process a little bit, as it sometimes take a bit of time to process such thing. Hopefully it should be it should finish processing anytime soon this year, would be nice. GD viewers. Hello? No? Okay, hold on, let me try it again. Mass triggerfish. If it's not gonna load, then I'm gonna jump to the next part of the thing. Please could you load so that I can show the people at home of what does it look like to be in this page. Please. Seem to be a no, but so what is gonna happen there was that this one gonna still have the texture of the old Picasso triggerfish. So how do we change it? You do this. Right click, and if you have a Notepad++, then you could edit with Notepad, but if you don't, you could open it with the Notepad right here, the normal ones. So you're going to edit with Notepad++, and this is where you will find your text file. So you can see there is a lot of things. We're not going to care about them, as it can be quite confusing. So what we do, we click here, search, find, and then type video, and then you find next 3 times usually, or however many times until you see this. Anything of the texture then .png, as this is the texture for the model. And then what we do is we do this, we select it like that, hold on, select it like that, go to search, and you go to replace, and then you replace them with the name of your texture. In this case, Mars triggerfish.png, and then you click replace all, and this will replace everything that mention it, so that it would be now using the Mars triggerfish app texture. And then after that, it should now be using the right texture as we want it to. If it would load anytime this year, that would be nice also. No, okay. I mean, we can live without having it for now. Next, we go to data, we go to animal. So again, we right click. Hello. Oh, hold on, wrong button. We right click and then edit with notepad. And then what do you do next? This one is quite simple. So you go to one of the, so I need to show you this first, which you go to the game data. This can be found right here. Basically go to Steam apps, common, Megaquarium data, game data. You go into data and you can find this one, the animal tag. Or if you are using animal from DLC, then you go into DLC and choose the DLC that you want to basically look into the data of, and then you just copy it. For example, we are using the triggerfish, so we of course going to be copying the information of the triggerfish model. So there it is. Then we just do that, copy it, and then we paste it in. And there we go, and then we just replace this with anything you want, like Mars. This is not everything you want, sorry. This one is the ID. This one can actually be anything that you want it to. You also have the tag for what the type of things you are modding in. For example, in this case, animal and triggerfish, and there is also DLC tag if you are using a model or data of a animal that is from a DLC, then it will have this tag on it. So make sure to have this tag and then put in the, and have the right DLC tag. For example, it says a freshwater frenzy. There you go. As this will prevent it from loading if you do not have DLC if you install it, which could cause a problem sometimes, so make sure to have this thing on. And it's also to prevent people, for example, if you have the Architect Collection DLC and you use a triggerfish model to make a mod, but a person that doesn't have it wants to download it because they haven't buy the DLC yet, it would be a bit bad for, you know, people, for you to use a model that is made by TC for this specific DLC and made them available to people without the DLC. So you just do that. And then the FBX file. So this one, you just go back to your mod. You go to your this and model, this one. So just copy this and put it in here. Mass triggerfish. And there we go. And next is the size. Size, this one is more important things than anything. So size, how do we calculate it? For example, in my case, a Mars triggerfish. A size can be calculated depending on what animal you're making. If you are making a normal fish, then you divide its centimeter in centimeter size. So let's go to this fish base. The Mars triggerfish is 38 centimeter max, or more common length 26. I recommend going common length as it's a bit more in general, 26, and then you divide it by 4. But if you are making a ray, then you divide it by 8. If you are making a moray or a snake, then you divide it by 10. So 26 divided by 4, that is 6.5. You could round it up or round it down, up to you, but I'm going to round it up to 7 and decrease the growth time a little bit to 6. And then this is the most important part of it, which is the stat and the available level as well. So I want it to be available at rank 5. And then you just basically fill out this field of stat. You can find on what's each stat used from the data right here. Just go into it and learn it, as that is also how I usually do it. For most of these, just look around at each data type and everything, and then you should get a nice little stat for your animal. So I'm gonna be doing this off camera as it can be quite a bit boring, so I'll cut to after I finish this part. So right now I got the stat ready. So this is what a ready stat should be, just quote unquote like. So just have everything ready, and then we're gonna go to the next part, which is gonna be, hold on, string. String is quite easy to do as it doesn't really need too much. So first thing, you need an ID, which is this one. So here goes. This is what the name in game is gonna be. So in this case, mass trigger fish. And then you put this one. This is gonna be the description or the info button. So let's find a nice little facts or fun things about them. So this can be anything you want to add for them. So let's just go with the most general things. Like this. So after that we paste it in, and then just clean up a little bit. So Terry. And there we go. And that is the description, and the last one is the plural. Like that. And then this is the string file done. And then you could close 2 of these, make sure to save both of them. And then we go to the last part, which is info. This one is quite important as well when you are about to release a mod. It is not so much when you are doing it. So first of all, this is tag. So tag can be found in the Steam workshop. You can find there all the tags that you would like to add, plant, sceneries, everything. Author, in this case me, Triggered Cat, and description. So I'll be using my normal type deal, which in here my finished project. So I guess I will go with one that is a like, hold on, that is the wrong one. There we go. And then I just copy it, because this is what I usually do, just so that I would have a template. There is no need for this, as this mod doesn't use any one of the workshop model. And then you basically just copy. You can just do the description however you like it. I just like to do it this way, and it is the most simplistic of ways, and it is also probably the best for the consumer, or basically the mod user, as they can quite clearly understand what are they going into. So hold on, I need their names, their different names, in case people know them by other things. This one is their other no names. Brittle, or mass trigger fish. And there you go, that is the info. Now, the next part is quite a fun part as well. So what we want to do is we want to test the mod first. So get your mods, copy, then you find this, the mods. So you go into your document, my game, Megaquarium, and go into mods, and you paste your mod in here. And then the mod, in theory, should pop up in game. So let's see, there you go, it is now in here. Let the game load a little bit. So in theory, if nothing is wrong, it should load. But if there is something wrong, then it will also tell you what is wrong, and we can just fix the problem from there. Or then again, as I recommend, if you're facing a problem that you can't solve on your own, make sure to ask other modders in the community, as it will help you to deal with things quicker and also to make a more of a higher quality. But make sure to not abuse your power for asking as well, by asking literally everything. So just ask things that you really stuck with, is what I'm saying. So after this, after testing, we can do the next part, which is making a thumbnail and then posting it. The two other steps, in my opinion, is quite self-explanatory. The thumbnail, you just have to save it as a PNG and name it thumb, as in thumb without the capital, if I remember correctly. And then you just save it as a pictures that is a size of 255 by 255, a square. So if you have the size correct and the correct tile file, then it should work, which is a PNG. Oh, and also the texture, make sure to have it in PNG, as that is the thing that is gonna take in, so the .png thing. And then you should probably have a nice time just posting the mods. It's just that you have to go into the mod manager tab and then just click post it from there. And then make sure to add it to a collection if you have one, like me. I have a collection made for my mods specifically. Or if it requires any DLC, make sure to tag those. Or if it requires other mod to work with, which is a thing that you could do with custom food, make sure to have those tagged so that people would be having the full experience of your mods. As I said again, this is just for like the most basic fish, so there's nothing much into it. As you can see here, the mod works. As you can see, mod successfully loaded. It is missing a thumbnail image right now, so as you can see, please add a 445 by, oh sorry, I got the numbers wrong, 445 by 445 PNG file with the size of this in the folder called thumb.png, so that it would read and pops up here. For example, this, like this, it will pop up as square, and you also have the author name right here that you write and the short description that you added. So now what we do is we test it. Go to creator mode, easy. This is just for testing. You can test it in wherever you want. I would recommend a creator mode. It is basically the easiest one to test anything out on. So we put down a tank, we place it there, then we find our trigger. In this case, the moss trigger. Oh god, and there we go, we got our mass triggerfish. And you can also check its stat if everything is correct, and do you want to change anything else. And that is basically how you mod in a fish to it, Megaquarium. And then the easiest part is just publish it, which you need a thumbnail for example. Let's go to like this. This option will be an upload on workshop, but however right now, since this is already uploaded, it will instead have the prompt of update item in case you need to update it if it have any bugs on launch or anything. So yeah, that is basically my guide on how to make your own fish mod for Megaquarium. So it is finally the end of the video. So first of all, hopefully you enjoyed this modding tutorial and also found it helpful and easy to understand. I tried my best, and also there's gonna be more incoming. of modding tutorials. So if you're interested in more, or just interested in me in general doing weird stuff, then make sure to click that subscribe button, as it helps up a lot, and also click that notification so that you'll get notified whenever I posted new videos. But however, before you clicked off, I have something I must tell you. I have included some helpful links in the description, if you haven't noticed, to obtain some of the software that I use for modding. And also I have left a link to the official Megaquarium Discord, because that is definitely the most important thing that you should do if you're into modding for Megaquarium. And also I have included a link for a Google Drive. How interesting. So you would think, what did I put in there? Well, I have 3 things in there. First one, I got a mod template, so that you don't have to make up your template on your own. You could just copy and paste mine and just basically do whatever you do with it, just as this tutorial told you to do. And then I also include some pattern for use, for those who can't be asked to find their own pattern for doing texture, or just, you know, using other software that doesn't come with the fractal. So I hope that you're gonna found that helpful and enjoyable to use as well. I include some of my favorites that I have used in my past mod. And also, you might have noticed something interesting in there as well. If you are downloading it now and already open it up, there is a already alpha layer reveal texture in there with a model, and it's also got names: Flame Antheus, Upper Achilles. So yeah, I think that in case anyone doesn't have any idea of what they want to make, I just think that I might as well give some idea for you to make. So the Flame Antheus, in my opinion, is quite an easy pattern. So hopefully everyone should be able to do it if they want to, of course. And yeah, hopefully I'm going to be seeing you guys make the Flame Antheus come into the game soon. And also one thing, because I know for sure everyone is, in case like a lot of people gonna make it, I'm pretty sure not everyone gonna make it that is watching this video. Make sure to have different ID for the fish itself, because something I forgot to tell you is that, yeah, you can't have the same ID for a thing, because otherwise it will override the other person mods. Yeah, it might sound like, oh, this is advantageous so that more people would use my mod. It would override the other people. But just think it's about this reverse. What if you got overwritten? Do you think that sound like fun? I don't think so. So make sure to, you know, change the ID up a bit. Just in my honest recommendation, try to make the ID unique. Or better yet, just put your name at the end of it, or at the start of it, so that basically people are not going to accidentally use the same ID as you, so that it wouldn't cause any overwritten issues, so that when 2 more of the same fish species are in use, they wouldn't just replace the other one. So yeah, hopefully I'm gonna be seeing a lot of people make them. And yeah, lastly, before I go, actually gonna go to bed soon as well, it's nighttime while recording this. Yeah, remember that modding is a hobby and it isn't your job by any means. So if anyone tries to force you into making a species, make sure to remember this. This is a hobby. It isn't your job. You aren't hired to or paid to be doing this. So only do them if you enjoy doing them, and also if you are actually happy while doing it and doesn't negative effects on your life. So yeah, that is my actual big advice of the day for modding. It's a hobby, don't take it seriously, just do what you think you are doing and have fun with it. And yeah, that is gonna be the end of the video. And as always, make sure to click that subscribe button, click that like button if you like this video a lot, and make sure to leave down a comment down below if you have any question for me, or if you just, you know, just want to talk, it's alright. I also have on Instagram if you want to follow and see my absolute terrible art, as you can also see in my background. That is actually my art for my laptop, so that's cool, I guess. Yeah, people gonna care, mate, definitely. And also, lastly, I also have Discord, so if you want to talk to me directly or talk with people in the community, make sure to join that Discord with the link down below. Not to be confused with the official Megaquarium Discord link. I have put them into a completely separate place, so you should be able to know which one is which, hopefully. And yeah, that is gonna be the end of the video. Hope you absolutely enjoyed this modding tutorial, and I did a lot of editing for this one, so I hope you enjoy that as well. And I'll see you in the next episode of Megaquarium 101 modding tutorial. Goodbye, and have a fun time modding.